So do you know what corrupts the government?
What's that?
Outside influence. So once the money gets bigger, you know what I mean? The influence gets bigger. And that's all I'm saying.
NRA.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
You know I agree with you.
They didn't.
I agree with you.
No, but they never said anything about goods. And I kept looking, man. I just kept looking. I just didn't want to believe it.
They're never going to say anything about any black man who ever gets shot.
Right. Especially CCW.
No, you know what? And my bad.
Rent holder.
I don't want to even offend anyone. How about they're never going to say anything about black man or woman? Because again, Florida, she shot her gun in the air as a warning shot to her abusive boyfriend, and she went to jail. And that's a stand your ground state. And the NRA never spoke on her.
Yeah, that's bullcrap.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's man or woman. As long as you're black, yeah.
Did you guys hear that Stand Your Ground is here now?
Yeah.
So
that's interesting.
What does that mean to you? Because I don't know how much you even understand Stand Your Ground. So what does it mean to you?
I think that means if someone breaks into my home, I have the right to shoot them right then and there, because this mere act of them breaking into my home to begin with is a threat to my life and everyone's life who's in the house.
Do you know can I say the beauty, and that's good, and you know, because the beauty is that I had a conversation with somebody else this same week, and she says the exact same thing. Exact. And I was like, okay, in the home, what about outside of the home? What about down the street? What about Trayvon Martin?
Right now, wait a minute, before you go there, because again, you complimented that thought, and I do too. Do you not understand we already have that?
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We already have that.
Yeah, stand your ground is outside his home.
Yeah. What you just said, if someone breaks in your house, you better damn shoot him.
Okay.
I'm going to be so mad. Like, Dad, I didn't know if I was allowed to shoot him.
But so there are certain just shots or in just situations that you need to do. And I remember when I did my CCW, there was a legal part that showed, you know what I'm saying, you had to prove no matter what. You have to prove that, you know, your life was threatened, or you felt that your life was threatened. Mm-hmm. And you had to give warning. So there's some things that you have to do before you just blast somebody. But
you say, get out,
if you think,
have a gun.
If you I feel threatened. I feel threatened. I feel my life. Boom, 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 boom. Well, I mean, you don't have to. All them
well, okay. So what the stand your ground takes away is, first and foremost, in Ohio, if you're outside in the street and someone threatens you, pulls a gun, makes a move, does anything, says something, what you have to do is get away. Okay? You have to flee that situation. If you were to flee that situation and they were to chase you, at that point, you have a right to defend yourself.
Right.
Okay? But the first step is you tried to get away from the situation.
Right.
Now that we have stand your ground, you don't have to.
Yeah, you stand. So if
that means that someone comes at you and says, hey, and you feel threatened, you can shoot. That's what it means, literally.
That's a little scary.
Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, no, I didn't before.
Because now people, and you know what it's been like here in Columbus.
Extreme, very extreme.
Now people can say, I was walking by him and he gave me this look like he was just wanting to stab me in my head. So I shot him. Technically, they stood their ground. They felt like they were threatened by the stare. They stood their ground and shot. And you can't blame them for that. Do you understand that's why George Zimmerman
got off
because of Trayvon Martin? Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Right. That stands your ground.
Right. No, in your home. And that's the same thing that I told the lady that I was talking about. I said, if somebody breaks in your house, you've got the right to defend you and your family. And then especially if you feel that your life is threatened, they're gone. Mm-hmm. Period.
Right.
You know, as long as you're not shooting them in the back as they're running out your house, type stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, did stand your ground just make it okay to increase the death of people in Ohio? We just came out of last year with the highest deadly homicide year ever in history of Columbus, Ohio. Did adding stand your ground just take away from that? Or did it
next
just
year's record numbers seem
this
low?
year?
Okay.
Not next year. This year's.
This year.
Yeah, we're now in 2021, and you know because you've been watching it with me. We have had even though we haven't had a homicide every day, we had an equal amount of homicides to equal what they were in. Literally. I'm pretty sure I've turned it off the last couple of days, but I think we're around 8 or 9 homicides now for the year of 2021 just started.
Right.
So did the stand your ground, are we looking at a higher rate this year then? Because before, people didn't have just the right to go out and shoot, and now they kind of do.
Especially with how everybody, and we was already talking about the hostility of things and everybody now.
Yep.
You know, how things escalate, don't nobody want to de-escalate. Everybody want to, temperature is getting hotter, the thermometer is hot out here, and it's in the winter. So it's crazy that, our very first 4 days of the year, we had 5 homicides or what have you. That was crazy.
Yeah.
That was crazy just to start the year off. And, everybody's thinking, the 2021 is magically going to be a different year because just one day goes by, or not even goes by, but just comes into the next day, and it was a continuance.
Yeah,
of
I never really understood that.
Yeah, it was a continuance of 2020,
I'm not sure what you were looking up, but when you said 5, I started thinking, I was trying to remember the last number I was at, but I know the other day was the first day we had nobody killed, even though a man was shot. He survived.
Oh, that's crazy.
He was shot in the head, too.
Wow.
On Livingston. He was shot in the head, but he survived. That was the first day we didn't have a homicide, right? The very next day, we have a double homicide.
Made up for it.
Yeah, that's all I could think in my head was y'all took a day off. Well, you didn't actually get to kill the one dude, so you had to make up for it the next day.
You know what? I told this lady that I was talking to, and I hope bro put this out so I can send it to her, because I would send this, just that information that he gave, just his summary, his recap of the Stand Your Ground was a lot better than what I said. You know what I'm saying? My shit was probably more emotions than, what his was. And I like that better. But, a lot of, at the end of the day, if the ultimate goal is depopulation, you know what I'm saying? It's just about losing lives. Mm-hmm. And if policy starts looking like, even everybody was like, oh, that's just, conspiracy theory. But if it looks like policy is leading into that conspiracy theory, when you can just execute somebody in the street just because you feel a certain way, did y'all see that instance where in New York, I do believe it was New York, where the lady thought the young boy had her phone?
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
She
Yes,
thought
sir.
she thought
Yes,
he
sir.
had her phone and acted up.
Yeah, physically tackled him to the ground and everything.
So if Stand Your Ground there, she would have shot him.
Yep.
And he would have been dead.
Right.
And she left it in her Uber. She left the phone in her Uber.
Well, she's saying she didn't. She's saying that it was in the hotel. She's denying that the Uber driver brought the phone back. She's in denial of everything. So no, you're right. If you have Stand Your Ground in that situation, she gets to pull a gun out and shoot this kid because she's saying he's robbing me. I'm in fear.
I don't think I don't see how that could work.
But it does. I mean,
there was a whole group of people there, cameras and everything, that caught it. He had just came off of the elevator. She's never seen him in her life, I don't think, and she's just like, oh, they're looking for my phone, so I'm going to ask people who I think I should ask coming out of the hotel who could have possibly taken my phone.
She profiled the brother. Just,
Yeah.
And you're saying within that situation, okay, but can you understand that there's always a chance that 14-year-old could have been in the parking lot without his dad, without witnesses. Mm-hmm. And she says, he stole something from me. He was trying to rob me.
in the parking lot, she got out of Uber, though.
No, I'm saying because Sierra was saying that there were too many witnesses for her to get away with that. I'm saying in a different situation, it could have been no witnesses. It could have been his dad. His dad was there. She tried to tackle him. And
he was filming it. Like, leave my son alone.
until she tried to tackle him, and then he yoked her up. As soon as she went and grabbed him, you see it in the camera from the hotel version. Because he doesn't have footage after that. She tries to grab him. He drops his phone and yokes her up. And she's on the Gayle King interview talking about, at the end of everything, he grabbed me by my hair and drug me across the room.
Yeah.
And she's going after assault. She's going after assault.
Definitely going to play that up.
That's my point, though, to you, is that had she had a gun, He dragged her by her hair, protecting his son. She opened fire, Cece. Stand your ground.
I guess I'm interested to see how many times it's successfully invoked within actual cases that come up.
And I do understand you're wanting to see how the Ohio court system deals with that. But again, when it comes to stand your ground, you can see how Trayvon Martin
that
came
failed.
Out.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Trayvon
More than anything else, I understand. I agree with you. We got to see how it plays out in Ohio, but we know how it's going to play out because that's the point of the law. Is there are people who feel like the whole stand your ground law invokes the Wild Wild West, no matter where it's set up at, because they're saying you got a problem with someone, pull it out, blast them. Wild Wild West. We handle this like gangsters. No longer need to talk. And also that takes away the ability for a lot of people to try to talk. Because there's people who don't want to have a conversation. They just want to handle it and be done with it and move on. So we're going to do that. So, okay, to me, you're sounding like you're kind of for a stand your ground type of scenario because you thought it was in your house, which we already have. So now that you know we already have that, what do you think about stand your ground?
Well, I think it definitely scares me, the ease of which people could get off and lying in one of those situations where there isn't security cameras, there's not, witnesses or anything. You could really say whatever. If the other person's dead, then, it is kind of scary thinking about, people will think that they have the freedom to do what they want to do, get someone where they want, where they know no one's going to be there and they can go ahead and do this and already have their story planned out on how it happened and everything. Do
you understand the thought of the domestic violence situations now when you think about it? And I'm not saying just men. I'm also saying women. I mean, someone who has an issue with their mate is going to easily now be able to say they were going to hurt me, stand your ground.
Wow. And yes, I mean, I can definitely see how I think that's definitely going to, just answering your original question, of course, is going to give, great elevation to those numbers, those homicide numbers or murder numbers, or, I mean, I guess not murder because it's going to be just kill.
You know what I just thought about?
What?
Every time a cop kills a black man, he says, I was in fear for my life.
Right.
That is stand your ground.
Yeah.
That's now what's about to happen. You don't even need a badge now. That's what it means. You don't even need a badge now. Your life is in danger. You are rightfully allowed to stand your ground. And the outcome is usually death for the other side. So there you go. There's your stand the ground.
I don't know how I feel about stand your ground.
Sorry you brought it up.
Well, I'm glad I got the education on it, because I was thinking it was just, in your home, but I guess it's good to know, if someone's breaking into your home, that's obviously within your right,
Yeah, most definitely.
Protect your family, your assets, yourself, your life.
Right. That's true.
Yeah, okay. Great stand your ground. So we can move on, man. That was a terrible law to put in. The wine has not helped us at all. But I also heard that no matter what, it was passing. Even if he tried to veto it, I guess it was still passing.
Right.
I think one of the biggest issues I have with stand your ground right now, every time someone's killed by the police, I have a tendency, and I shouldn't do it, but I look into the comments on the news stories that come out. And Ohio is overwhelmingly pissed off that we keep on talking about these black kids getting killed. And you know what? If they just did what they were supposed to, if they just followed the orders of law enforcement, they'd be alive. That's what I hear all the time. Now I'm wondering, in Ohio, a red state, we know that. Fact. Red state. Gun-loving state. Fact. Gun shows every other month. Fact. Last gun show, someone got shot in the parking lot. Fact. And now what I'm looking at is how soon do we start seeing the rise in the stand your ground law being utilized in a hate scenario where there's no threat whatsoever. More than just the black guy looked at me funny. I think about the people that I read saying, if you had listened to whoever was in authority, you'd be alive. Those are the people I think are going to have a gun, going to have a CCW, and going to be the first person to say, well, I told them that they shouldn't be here right now, and they didn't listen to me. And this is my neighborhood. I have more authority than they do, and they're opening fire.
I guess I'll have more to say once I actually see when it happens, the circumstances surrounding and who's really getting off and how many questions there are still in the air. Like how much are you going to have to prove? What hoops are you going to have to jump through to actually be able to use that? I see it's there. People might be doing some stupid stuff to see what they can get away with, but will they really get away with it? Will people be able to?
I think you want to use it. And that's why I think you start.
No, I don't want to kill nobody.
I think,
but if they break in your home, you already have that. You already, you know what I'm saying? If you're already
I have
in danger.
no issue if I see someone breaking.
Well, she didn't know that she was okay to do that before, but now that we've confirmed to her she's allowed, she can't wait for someone to break in her house. I can guarantee.
Well,
you.
I think if maybe you learned and you read up about stand your ground and you've seen in other instances where it would benefit or maybe not be so beneficial.
Yeah.
You know, you might have a little bit more input on it, but it's good to just know that you learned something about it today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely that it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like the idea of it, especially seeing how it went, how George Zimmerman got off with it,
right.
Being able to use that wasn't right.
Well,
it's crazy because, like, I don't know if y'all saw that, what was it, Ice-T, the dude that, smacked the dude with the iced tea or whatever.
Oh,
did y'all see
okay.
that?
Yeah,
did y'all see that? Where
I was automatically thinking iced tea though, but
Me too.
yeah,
he actually tried to kick it and he just pop. So just imagine that guy right there. Now, who would benefit the most in stand your ground? Right, well, the dude was knocked out, so he's not going to be. But
he wasn't knocked out at first. They eventually started fighting at that point. So at that point, after he hits him with the can, if the white guy had been strapped, stand your ground.
Right.
That's
right.
all good. As soon as the white dude said, are you about to hit me with that can? Stand your ground. Can then be enforced. Because he knew bro was about to hit him with that can.
With
and he said,
can, not with like deadly force or.
Doesn't matter.
You're
License
not fearing
threat.
for your life.
You don't
Over a
think you
can?
can die?
You don't know how them hands work.
Yeah, you can die from getting beat. So you are.
Or
Sierra,
get your eye busted or, something.
Sierra, before
Go blind.
physical threat comes in, you can feel your life is in danger.
Right.
With someone saying, I will hurt you. I have caught a case before for saying to someone, I'm going to break your nose wide open. And that was called felony menacing. At that point, that person could have shot me. I made a threat to them.
Right, for sure.
So they could have shot me and I'd be dead. I mean, that's just what it is. So.
Or maybe they just shot you in the leg.
If they didn't want me to be dead, yes. Right. But I think there's a lot of people out there who want us dead. They don't want us hurt. They don't want us in the hospital.
Right.
They want us dead.
Any gun course you take tells you to shoot to kill.
Right.
You don't shoot to injure.
And then you got to think about how many people are scared that if I shoot him in his leg, he might come back and get me.
Well, there's a lot of scary people anyway. So just to let people to be able to determine when they feel that their life is in threat. I mean, it could be a questionable situation. And just based upon how you feeling or what type of day you're having could reflect your judgment. And alcohol or whatever, you could be impaired. You can be impaired in just so many different ways, mentally or physically. Man, it's just a very scary thought. I'm with you, Sierra, for sure.
This is gonna be a long year, man. Okay, we're gonna take a break real quick. Thank you for joining our conversation, Sierra.
Thank
you.
you.
Appreciate it. Yeah.